Right, time for another update. Next we're on, well, two sections really. The bumper, getting that to fit correct, and then the scuttle panel, which is oh yeah, and I've also got a new screen just temporarily in place. Not bad. I think I'll get 80 quid delivered. So anyway, so now I can see how I've got to do the fills for both sides, and then the main thing for me is to get this front to sit properly. Now I have noticed on older builds where maybe it's been painted, this gap, if I can get that a bit better, has not been addressed. Now I think there might have been a slight problem in the mold in the mold when these were like, or the plug, because there's an inherent gap, you can see, and there's a slight kink. Actually you can probably see it on this one better. Just there's a kink, and it could be where there is a crease or a join on the plug or the mold. So it means that the bumper, which is generally flat, does not meet up with the front clip properly, so you've got a gap. And then there, I can't, trying to get it straight as possible, there's no gap, and then it opens up. So the idea is to make a piece of formwork with the Formica board and then reshape, not dramatically, but just reshape the two closing edges, primarily the clip against the bumper, and I'll show you that in a second. So you can see that this has been done in 3 sections on the front clip. When they've done the plug and the mould, they've looks like they've got their corner points. There's one there and there's one there, but the bumper doesn't follow it perfectly. So you've got this ripple effect going across the shut line on the front clip to the bumper. The idea is to fill this in and smooth it out all the way along. It's a bit rippled along here as well, so that's going to need a little bit of work, but it's going to try and get the shut line between, or the join line between the bonnet and bumper, or front clip and bumper. The sides are basically perfect, so they must have used maybe a bit of wood like I have to get that line there, but this being in the other section, it seems that it just didn't work out perfect there and there. So you've got that gap there and that gap there, and it goes down to nothing. If I can show that a bit better, there. The idea is to get that all the way along, so to remove that little bit of a lip and that bit of a lip. So that's with the filler all now done. There, this bit I've used, I've scraped the filler away here to give me more line. You probably see it better on this one. See the lines? That's the edge of the wing before it's got all the tape on it. So it's time for another update. 2 parts have actually been painted and finished. So the rear deck frame, that's now got about 3 heavy layers of satin matte on it. The original paint seemed to be a bit thin, probably more like a self-etching black primer than anything else. And I was starting to get a couple of places where there was welds, and they were getting a little bit perforated with very slight coverings of rust. So I thought, oh, so I took the opportunity to cut it all back and primer it, and it's all been repainted both sides, about a ½ litre of paint on there, as well as doing the scuttle panel, which is all scuttle trim, which is also finished. So if you remember beforehand, I'd made all these sections up. They're all now finished and painted. So they follow the profile of the wing and are just almost level with it on height wise. It should look okay, and that is now the centre perforated sheet, which has all been blended in, painted, etc. This is where the wipers go, down and there. Would have made my life a little bit easier if I'd actually had Stoneleigh a bit before this, because I saw a couple of guys that what they'd actually done was cut the profile out there, and then used that as the finishing edge at 90 degree. So it was basically, so it looked like that, further back from the bonnet. But hey, I didn't have the luxury of that, so this is what I've done. Next one is the bumper.